good afternoon. Welcome. This session is the last open lecture of this year's Film Lab. In the past few days, we talked about production, we talked about art direction, we talked about editing, and today we are going to talk about international co-production and financing. We are very happy to have two speakers to share with us their experiences. First, we have Julien EZANNO. He is a representative of CNC and is also experienced in international co-production. He was also a delegate of the European Co-Production Fund during March. And another guest we have today is Jing. She's a producer. She produced Johnny Ma's To Live to Sing, which was selected in the Director's Fortnight section of Cannes Film Festival in 2019. And before that film was made, that project was selected in our co-production market, HAF. So may I now hand over to you, Julien, to briefly talk about the co-production scene in Europe.
So hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, HAF. Should I start sharing my screen?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll use a presentation and of course I will be very happy to answer any question that you might have later on. Is it working?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, starting here. This is my name and my contact details, and this is posters of films that we have, Chinese language films that we have supported at the CNC and that we have co-produced. A few examples. So the first thing I would like to comment on is basically, why would you pick a French co-producer? Why would you work with France, basically? Because obviously today there are many partners that you may have for your project, and I think there are good reasons to choose a French partner. In our view, choosing a French co-producer is a way to make a better film, because we think that if you work with technicians that are highly skilled with a lot of experience, it can help you make a better film. It's of course not something that's systematic, but it's a possibility, and you should consider, ideally, what we like is even in the framework of a co-production to have heads of departments on the shoot. It's not the easiest thing to do, and particularly at this time of COVID, where traveling is very difficult. But a French DOP, for example, but not only a DOP, there are many ways to associate French skills on a shoot. But today, as you know, it's mostly through post-production. And we think we have good input for sound and image. I would say, of course, it's not obvious for sound with Chinese-speaking projects, but I think we can bring good input, at least with image, but it's just a personal point of view. The other point to consider when you are thinking, where, let's say you hesitate between France and another country, is the fact that with France, your film can reach theatrical audience, which is rarely the case with other European co-productions or international co-production, because there is a large art house market in France, people who love to see films that come from far away in original version. And you can consider, for example, that Parasite, the Korean film, sold 2 million tickets in France, and it gives you an idea of the size, let's say, of the demanding clientele, the demanding audience for international art house. Not all Asian films sell 2 million tickets because it's a record number, but it happens that some films reach 1 million or, of course, smaller numbers. But the market is there. It's then if you consider the financial benefit, it depends on the partnership that you sign, of course, with your co-producer. Can you get back some of the royalties, or in the contract, is it a market that remains with the French co-producer? It's something that you negotiate, of course, in your partnership. But please bear that in mind, and it can have also an impact, a possible success on the theatrical market for your future films, meaning that if distributors know that you have the talent to gather a large audience, they can put forward some financing with MGs for distribution, for example. It happens. And we, as the public fund, we support the release in theaters for your films. Most films coming from Asia into the French theatrical market are supported with grants helping distributors to release the films. Please bear in mind also that in France you can reach very good sales agents. There are lots of very good sales agents that are there to help you build international strategy for your film, meaning what's the best, if you consider the date when the film's fully finished, what's the best festival to go to first? Should you try there? Should you try there? And how to build a strategy for your film. And they have those sales agents. Maybe there are pretty strong companies. They are used to selling not only French films, but also international films. And then another aspect to consider is the fact that, of course, you have platforms to show your film. The first one of them, the most important, is, of course, the Cannes Film Festival. And within the Cannes Film Festival, the official and the other sections like Fortnight and the Critics Week. But also you have festivals that show Asian films in Vesoul, in Amiens, in Nantes. How do you co-produce and how do you reach financing in France? Because what I didn't mention is that another reason to co-produce is that you can raise some money. Bringing to the CNC scripts, because to raise financing, you need a fully developed script that's evaluated considering its originality, its sincerity, I would say, and also its universality, meaning that telling a story that's very local is very interesting for us, but it needs also to be able to reach the international audience, meaning that when I talk about universality is the fact that you are able to tell a very local story, but in a way that can reach everybody. To meet a French co-producer, you attend markets like Filmart and HAF, of course, Berlinale, Cannes, all the platforms where French producers go. They go to most of major platforms. And ideally, if you want to build a strong partnership, consider co-developing and working together on the script. It's not to change your story. because sincerity, originality are things that are very important, but the foreign eye can be useful to reach the universality I was talking about, meaning that it's a foreign eye that will help you avoid those things that you think are understandable elsewhere, but in fact are not. And of course, it's very important to build a relationship of trust between you and the French co-producer. I think it's difficult, but I think if you don't feel comfortable with a foreign partner, I think it's bad to go on working with them. But it's a personal belief. The financing tools in France are soft and hard money. Soft is the grants that CNC or regional funds can provide, and hard is the money that you can raise on the market with MGs, with distributors, sales agents. Of course, reaching the market money is mostly for directors that have already a value on the market, I would say. But first-time directors can get the support of CNC if you have a strong script, if you have strong short films. It can be even the first money in place. The first money, you don't need to bring to us any prior financing in place. And when we negotiate your co-production contract, it's our ideal vision of co-production is, as I said earlier, to bring people on the set. It's difficult nowadays, but for us, it's the dream partnership, of course. But post-production, of course, you probably have to, anyway, if you raise some aide au cinéma du monde, you'll have to consider probably at least post-prod. The terms of the contract that you will sign with your partners are all negotiable. Yet there is no standard contract that any co-producer might force you to sign. You negotiate every term, of course. Bear in mind that in France, a French co-producer will not use its own money. It's not the type of producer that can guarantee an involvement when they meet you, for example, in a market. They generally are not able to promise firm financing. In 95% of cases, depends on what they will be able to raise on the market, what they will be able to get as public support. They come to us, they go to Regent, they go to TV, etc. And all this, the building of the financing takes a lot of time. A major difference between, I would say, most Asian markets and the French market, sometimes like in Korea, for example, that's why it's very difficult to build partnerships. It goes very fast because then an author gets confirmation of a check. And here it will take 18 months to raise the first money. So co-producing with us, it's possible if you have time. If you don't have time, it's very difficult to put in place. The soft money partners will consider mostly the qualities of the script and also probably the qualities of what was made before, shorts or feature. Hard money partners will also consider what you can reach, what you can do on the market. The success of a film on the French market is a combination of things. It's the name sometimes of a director. Even the name of a director can be enough, but also what has been the marketing strategy of the distributor. Did he invest a lot in posters, in communication, etc.? Also critics, what they write, etc. But contrary to markets where cast is key, on the French market, you could say that cast is a key element of success for a foreign film. What we have today, for example, in theaters now, it's a Park Chan-wook film. We don't know the names of the actors, etc. They are fans of Park and they will go see a Park film. When it's a famous Asian director based on the name of the director. It's a new Woody Allen film, it's a new Almodovar film, which is not the tradition on the American market, let's say, for example. The French theatrical market, as I said earlier, is generally kept by the French co-producer, but as it's a big market, it's also something that you may try and negotiate. Depending on how you share the world, you can also decide together to share the world completely. Because, of course, not all markets are equivalent in terms of revenue, of royalties. And please bear in mind also that showing a film in Cannes has an impact that's 100 times stronger on the market than any other selection. I say 100 times, but it's not even comparable to, to have this label, one of the 3 labels, or any other label. So if you can manage to be ready for Cannes, it's really the best place to start. Our financing tool for Asian cinema, for world cinema, is Aide au Cinéma du Monde. We can say Cinéma du Monde, Aide au Cinéma du Monde. To be eligible, your project needs to be feature length, and you need a theatrical release. We do not support, with Cinéma du Monde, we do not support production for platforms or TV. Fiction, documentary, and animation are eligible. And one of the criteria is that the language be either the language of the director or the language of the location where you shoot. You increase your chances to get it if your script is fully developed. I do not advise you to apply at a too early stage with your script. It's better that it's what I call a shooting script. And as committees read in French, the translation, which is something that you cannot check yourself, but probably it's true that the quality of the translation, if it's made by someone who's reliable in translating, is better, because reading bad French is really something that can be not helpful, I would say. And in the story, as much as possible, show sincerity and originality. The deadlines are 4 times a year, and we separate first and second time directors with confirmed directors. They do not compete with each other. If you come to us with a first feature, you do not compete with Lars von Trier and Michael Haneke, obviously. And we also have a specific call for post-production. The committees that choose the projects are made of experts of the industry, and the CNC itself does not participate in the selection, but we just manage the fund. But the selection is made by those experts that are changed every year or every other year. The amount that we award is of a maximum of 250,000 euros, with an average amount for a feature fiction of 130,000 euros, knowing that the amount is decided considering the budget and the financing plan. And you have to bear in mind also that 50% of that amount that's awarded has to be spent on French spent. It can be the salary of a DOP that's on the shoot, or it can be post-production, it can be many things. And the French co-producer can wire 50% of the grant to your country for your own production expenses. Bear in mind that you have other possibilities, depending on who's the director, to raise some money on the market with television, because Canal+, Cine+, OCS, and Arte can put money forward on some films. Distributors can get involved with MG. If they put an MG, they will take a higher commission. But it's of course, getting an MG means that the director has a value on the market. Sales, same. If you want an MG from a sales agent, he will take probably a higher commission. But it's anyway, as I said earlier, it's anyway good to have a sales agent involved quite early, because they are really helpful in building strategies. We also have our tax shelter, Sofica, that can get involved with some money, but they are the greediest. Concerning European financing and co-production tools, many European national funds today have put in place minority co-production schemes. Some of them do not even require spending locally. I think it's the case in Norway, maybe in Switzerland, I'm not sure. Anyway, you can get a lot of information about minority co-production support through EFAD. You see the link. EFAD, it's an NGO that gathers all the European film agencies. Also, you have an association, an NGO that's gathering all the regional funds in Europe. That's called Cine Regio. You can see the link. And some regions also can support minority co-production. Generally, the idea of a regional support is that either you work with a producer that's based in their region, or you show their heritage, their landscapes. The European scheme is Eurimage. Eurimage, it's a refundable loan with quite big amounts sometimes. I think it's up to 500,000 euros. But the majority co-producers have to be members of Eurimage, and the third party can have a maximum of 30%. So let's say a Franco-Belgian initiative with a 30% share in your country. So it's not the most obvious tool for Asian initiative projects, but why not? You know, on the market, there are some sales agents in Europe that are able to get involved with MGs in a few countries, and also television. So basically, that's what I wanted to say. I probably forgot a lot, but I'm ready to answer any question. And I showed this picture of Irfan Khan because it was one of our great pride, was the lunchbox that we supported and was at the Critics Week and had a huge success on the French market. So maybe I should stop sharing now.
Thank you for your sharing. Yeah, I see some questions that are specifically related to French co-production. Let's see. One of the audience asked, are the French sales agents open to explore new Asian filmmakers that are looking to enter into international film festivals? What do you think?
I'm sure they are very curious, you know, and they need new talent, all of them, because it's a harsh competition, you know, between them. So I cannot say for each one of them, but they need. Of course, the market is very difficult today. The market is difficult, but they need strong films in their catalog. So I think they're very open.
Cool.
Yeah, at least the young companies.
Great. There's another question. Hi, Julien. I've heard that a film that doesn't get into Cannes, Berlin, or Venice has realistically zero chance of finding distribution in Europe. How true is that?
I think it's not entirely true. I don't think it's so completely true, because films coming from Sundance, for example, but it's true that not all labels have the same value. Cannes has a value that's above everything. Sundance has some value. Locarno has some value. There are festivals that have a little value for the market, but without any festival label, you need a huge marketing campaign, because what happens is that when you have the big label of a festival, your marketing doesn't need to be so strong. But then you see what Americans do. They have no, for Hollywood, they have no festival label, but they spend so much money on marketing. So that's where the balance is, you know. And if you don't have a festival label, are you going on a small film? Are you going to invest a lot on marketing? I don't think so. So it's a matter of how you conquer a market that's super competitive. So yes, a big festival label helps a lot. Yeah.
Hey, should I approach a distributor at the same time when I submit a film to a festival, or after the film has been accepted? What do you think?
That's I mean, there are many configurations, but I would trust personally. I mean, I would trust the sales agents, because sometimes they even want to pick the French distributor themselves. But sometimes also, as a producer, you already have a privileged relationship with a distributor. So it's something that you maybe don't want to betray. but I would approach this in a very rational way. If you don't have any distributor with you at this time, I would trust the sales agent to pick everybody. But I think it's a film by film thing.
Okay. Now there's a question about short film. How to fund a short film from script development process in France or in Europe in general?
In Europe, I don't know, but in France, there are possibilities to co-produce a short if there's an agreement with France, because we support international directors for production. For development, I'm not sure.
Okay. And there's a question about Malaysia. And I would like to know what are the chances to get the film financed if the project is made in Malaysia, Vietnam, like Southeast Asia?
It's the same chances as in Mozambique and Senegal. You know, everything depends on the quality of a film, of the quality of a story, how it's told, how it's filmed. We support films from Singapore, from Vietnam. Phuong Dong Di, I don't know if the pronunciation is probably not right, but Phuong Dong Di is one of our dear Vietnamese directors, and there's no difference for us. It's a matter of project by project, you know. Yeah.
Okay. Before I hand it over to Wang Jing, there's one more question. Is there a platform or database for us to learn who are the sales agents in France?
So they are under different umbrellas, but there is an association called ADEF, and also there is Unifrance, because you know Unifrance is the NGO that promotes French films abroad, and most sales agents are under the umbrella of Unifrance. So you can get a lot of information on Unifrance website, I think.
Great. Thank you, Julien. Maybe I should pass the time to Wang Jing. 我知道他有一些就是在欧洲融资的经验，那现在我就把时间交给你，让大家知道你的融资的经验吧。
好，非常荣幸可以分享我一些就是关于 international co-production 的经历。那因为时间有限，所以我可能会讲的有一点快。刚刚 Julien 也说过，其实 international co-production 是需要比较长的时间的。这个其实是我之前的项目一些比较重要的时间节点。然后其实我的项目就是它在 co-production 方面主要是2018年的1月份到6月份之间进行的这个去参加 Cinemart 和申请一些 funds。那它其实在 co-production 里面算是非常紧凑，甚至是有一点仓促的这样一个节奏，其实不太建议这么急。为什么 co-production 就是会需要比较久的时间？因为一个是你要找到你的 co-producer， 然后你们要准备材料、翻译等等，这些大概需要2到3个月的时间。然后对于所有的 funds 来说，它也一般是按季度、半年或者年度来申请，然后它也需要一个审核的时间，大概是3到6个月左右不等。所以可以看到，我们最早得到结果的是4月份申请的 Hubert Bells Fund 的 Minority Co-Production Support， 那我们是7月份得到的结果。那 CNC 我们是6月份申请的，然后11月份其实我们的拍摄已经结束了，然后我们是11月份才知道结果。所以如果你计划要做 co-production， 你一定要提前准备。很多时候，因为你可能参加一个co-production market， 但是你的 co-producer 他可能在下一个季度已经有别的东西要申请了，然后这个时候你可能又要再多等一个季度。所以就是一定要提前计划。那其实这些 funds 里面，除了要通过 co-producer 申请的，也有一部分 funds 是可以作为 main producer 去申请的。他们通常数额其实相对比较小一点， 但是它的好处是它通常没有什么花费上的要求，会比较灵活一些。那像这个瑞士的南方电影基金，然后一些主要的信息我都写在上面了。然后过去它有一些项目，比如说像文彦导演的《水印街嘉年华》，然后他制片刁亦男导演的《夜车》等等。然后 Doha Film Funds，它其实主要针对的是中东和北非地区的导演。但是对于非中东和北非地区的导演的第一和第二部长片来说呢，是可以申请一个后期补助的，它的上限是$75,000，但据我了解，它的金额应该大概在$3到4万左右。另外还有 Hubert Belz Fund 的 Script and Development Fund， 它比较特别，它因为是一个 Development Fund，它可以在比较早的时候申请，甚至你作为一个还没有制片人的项目，其实也是可以申请的。那剩下的这些呢，就是我自己认为更加，就是你要架构起一个真正的 co-production， 你要有 co-producer， 然后也有在当地的大部分有一些当地的花费的需求的一些 funding，但是挪威的 Soul Fund 应该是没有这个花费的需求，但是你需要有 co-producer。那怎么样找到你的 co-producer 呢？就是比较简单的方法，也不是很简单，就是比较直接的方法，就是参加 co-production market。这些是我自己有参加过，然后本身也有很好体验的一些 co-production market。然后我觉得 co-production market 对于一些比如中国内地的创投市场，它还是有一点区别，因为它的重点是 co-production，所以它需要你对你计划要做一个怎么样的 co-production 有一些大致的设想，然后你也要对你的项目本身有什么部分可以和海外合作有一个比较清楚的去思考。那这两段其实是我直接从2018年柏林 co-production market 的手册上摘录下来的，然后我们就可以看到它其实如果你有一些部分可以在海外拍摄，然后你哪些部门的主创可以来自海外，然后甚至是你对于具体主要是哪些国家的资金其实有一个规划，然后这些都会需要写在你的这个项目的介绍里面。那比如我们当时其实已经比较明确的想要申请法国的世界电影基金，所以我们就其实主要重点约见的是法国的合拍方。那合拍方就是他可能自己会做一个资金的组合，就是比如说可能是 CNC 的资金制作的这个资金，然后加上一个电视台的 MG， 然后再加上他当地的一些后期补助等等这样一个组合。那什么时候是比较适合申请 co-production market 呢？我觉得就是首先你的材料要已经 ready， 而且就包括你的剧本。其实刚刚Julien也有提到，如果你在后面还要进行很大的修改的话，是不太适合申请的，因为你所有的沟通都要重来一遍。然后呢，对于你如果已经有明确的基金截止的日期，我建议你至少提前6到12个月申请co-production market。很多 co-production market 对于你已经到位的资金是有一定要求的，像柏林应该就是30%。这个就是根据你具体想要去参加的 market， 然后你再具体的再调整这样子。那如在 co-production market 上，然后你见到很多的潜在的 co-producer， 怎么样确定你的 co-producer？ 我觉得其实和你确定任何一个主要部门的合作伙伴都是一样的，就是首先你们要在审美，然后和对项目的 vision 上是比较接近的。然后这个 vision 包括创作的部分，然后也包括一些规划的部分，就比如说在制作，然后在资金，在发行上，你们其实都是有比较相近的想法，然后可以彼此有 trust， 彼此有信任的这样的一些co-producer。 那另外一个部分呢，就是有一些背景调查，或者是你有一些 homework 要做，就是包括他过去的一些作品，他的资金构成是怎么样的。其实在很多在他的过去作品的片尾 credit 或者一些资金的网站上面，其实都会很明确。然后还有就是，如果你有认识过去和他合作的 filmmaker，和他合作过的导演和制片人的话，你也可以去询问他们合作的体验。我觉得这个也是很必要的。那你如果在这些步骤进行了之后，已经比较明确想要合作，你们接下来就会要签署一个 deal memo。在很多资金的申请里面，这个 deal memo 都是一个必须的文件。但像就是刚刚Julien说的一样，除了一些有关于基金的规则本身的条款之外，其他的条款其实都是可以去谈的。那你至少要覆盖的部分就是包括production， 比如说谁负责什么样的工作，然后你们大致的financial contribution，以及对于版权的规划，然后还有这个发行权利，你到底是怎么样分配的？那一种比较常见的方式是，比如说法国的 producer 是拿法国权益的全部，然后中国的 producer 是拿这边的全部，剩下的再按比例分配。然后也有可能是比如说全部都是按照比例来分配。但是如果是要选择全部按照比例分配的这种方式，我觉得你也要考虑到很多执行上的难度，就是比如说不同地区的院线结算的系统，然后一些外汇啊之类的很具体的一些措施可能会很有难度。还有一些别的条款，就是比如说这个 deal memo 在什么样的情况下会失效，然后在什么样的情况下我们会去签署一个正式的合约，还有 credits 等等。然后我觉得这些都是比较基本需要覆盖的内容。申请的材料，其实我觉得大家应该都是很有经验的申请的人，所以就不再多说。我觉得申请材料，我自己觉得主要是要呈现两方面的东西，一部分就是艺术上的独特性，然后它主要是可能更多的是通过剧本，然后还有导演的阐述，导演之前的作品来呈现的。然后另一个部分就是这个项目的可行性，然后可行性又有制作上的可行性，就比如说你的 producer 和 production company 都是很有经验的，也有过合拍的经验，然后你的 schedule 和 budget 都是非常合理的。然后另外一部分就是发行上的可行性，这些就是一部分是通过导演之前的作品，如果导演之前的作品已经有很好的发行的情况，那是一个很有力的佐证。或者是有的时候你可能在很早的时候已经有一些发行公司的 proposal， 那它也是一个很有帮助的佐证。最后就是这个其实是 HF 发给我的问题，就是你在考虑国际合拍的时候，其实你在考虑的都是一些什么样的需求呢？我觉得就是不妨从合拍这件事情它的优点和缺点或者挑战来说吧。就是我觉得它的优点主要是两个方面，一个是从资金上，因为它是我们目前讨论的都是一种 soft money， 然后它是没有太强回收的需求，或者是版权置换的这种需求的，所以对于我们所谓的文艺片来说，它其实是很大的可以缓解回收的压力的。然后另外一个部分就是对于国际的发行来说，虽然我觉得就是并不是你比如说和法国合拍就意味着你一定可以进到比较好的电影节，也不是，就是它也不是一个唯一的方式，但是我觉得在比较早的阶段，你有 国外的合拍方，然后有国外的发行方和海外销售的加入，他们会很好的帮你规划到国际发行这件事情，也会让你的项目持续在国际上可以引起一定的关注。然后我觉得它在一个广义上来说是比较有利于国际发行的。因为其实很多时候我们会觉得，到这个片如果我在一个3大电影节首映，那是不是就是一种胜利的结束？但其实不是的，只是我觉得在电影节首映是另一个阶段工作的开始。其实每年应该都有一些影片，虽然可以在很好的电影节首映，但是在后续的发行也还是会比较困难。所以我从这个角度上来说，你比较早的阶段让这些专业的人士来帮助到你，是一个很有必要的事情。那我觉得它比较棘手一点的方面呢，主要就是一个是它的周期会比较漫长。有的时候特别是对于比较大一点的项目，那可能你有其他的资方，然后或者是有一些其他的卡司，各个方面都有各自的需求，然后你周期比较漫长，这件事情会比较难协调。然后另一个部分就是它的钱其实使用方面是有限制的。比如说，而且很多时候这个限制你不可以把它卡在那个它最低使用的那个限度这么死，你可能要稍稍的放宽一点，因为有的时候可能它比如说只有付给后期制作公司的钱才可以算在这个50%里面，但是有的时候你为了做到这件事情本身，你可能也有一些其他的花销，然后这个花销可能不一定可以再计算在内，那么你最后的花销可能就会超过50%，那这个你也是要考虑在内。另外就是，其实在海外制作的成本，真的是其实是相对高一点的，然后它的周期也会比较长。虽然它的质量也是非常好的，所以对于一个可能你只在法国做后期的这样一个项目来说，那你可能本身各个渠道募集的资金，就是大概可能在几十到小100万的这样一个范围。那在这样一个范围里面，如果你整体项目的规模是比较大的，可能这个资金对于你来说也是杯水车薪，但是你同时却要协调很多东西。所以这个的衡量的标准，我觉得也是每一个导演和制片要自己去看的。然后另外一个就是你有更多的国家语言团队参加，它的沟通成本一定会增加。比如说如果你在国外进行后期制作，然后你是一个本身需要在中国内地送审的项目的话，你这个流程的协调也会非常的麻烦。所以我其实更推荐一些本身项目里面有一些元素，比如说你的导演啊，你的团队啊，也很适应这样和海外团队的合作，或者也很适应有一部分在海外制作这样的项目去申请。那回到那个问题，就是我觉得你如果最终希望选择做 co-production， 一定是这些所谓的挑战你是可以承受的，然后它带来的优点是大大的胜于这些所谓挑战的这样的项目。那其实因为每一个项目都太不一样了，所以这个问题它只能根据你项目的内容具体，然后再去判断。我今天要说的主要就是这些。
好，谢谢。I see some questions. I think this is a question typically for Wang Jing. Just wondering what are the differences between the co-production markets in Hong Kong, in China, and overseas? What do you think?
我觉得就是我刚刚所说到的，我自己感觉我在欧洲参加的 co-production market， 它更注重co-production， 然后他们的资金来源，就像刚刚 Julien 讲的，他其实很多的时候不是他们自己的投资，而是他们要去另外找一些别的钱。它很多时候是一种 soft money 和 hard money 的组合。但是就是在中国内地的一些创投来说，它可能它就是大家更多的是在找资金，而不是找 co-production。然后我觉得我在国内参加的创投来说，比较少会有终端就是发行方的人在这么早的时候介入，就是会相对少一点，除非是对于 WIP 的项目。但是在国外的 co-production market 里面，我会见到非常多的 sales agent， 然后他们也都会希望比较早的了解这个项目，他们不一定会那么早的进入，但是他们会track， 会跟踪这个项目一段时间。
Okay. Maybe this is a question for both of you. Is there any specific interest that the European co-producers will look at for film project? Julien, do you have any comment on this?
I think, honestly, I think it depends on the people, on the quality of the meetings, because the producers are still human beings, and and sometimes they can decide to get involved for silly reasons, just because they love a person, you know. But I would say that if some of them approach the issue in a very rational way, but it's not only about rationality film. There's a lot of things that are not rational. I think today, as the market of art house is very difficult, maybe they are a little pickier, you know, and will be more careful with what a young director is actually capable of doing with the film. So maybe more into checking short films, or maybe initiating a short film to check talent. I mean, an honest way to co-produce for me, it's to think distribution, because co-producing doesn't mean anything to me, you know. If it's just spending soft money that you find and making a film that will stay on the shelf, it's useless to me. So the healthy way to co-produce for me is talking about the market at the end of the process. What's going to happen to that film? What may happen, you know? Is it a film for the market or it's not? So yeah, in a discussion, I think it's good to try and feel what are the final intentions, and if you can convince a European partner that your film is for the market, you know, not just a film that you'll be happy to make, but in the end, nobody will see. Yeah.
How about Wang Jing? Do you have any other comments to it?
我也觉得它是因人而异的，就是每一个制片人他有自己感兴趣的方向或者题材，但是他没有一个所谓的欧洲制片人都感兴趣的方向或者题材。然后我自己感觉就是欧洲的 co-producer 他们很多时候是和一个导演建立一种长期的合作关系。然后很多时候他们也许从导演的短片就开始关注，然后进行某种程度的合作。
Okay. I think that's all the questions. Let's check. Oh, one more. Okay. Question to Wang Jing. Are there any international markets that you notice that are more keen on Asian films?
我自己参加的我没有觉得就是特别，就除了本身就在亚洲地区的一些 markets， 其他的我没有就是我没有注意到有特别侧重在亚洲部分的这些 market， 但是可能有一些我也不知道的。本身就在亚洲的部分，比如说釜山啊 HAF 啊，对。
Okay, so I think that's it. That's all the questions. Again, thank you very much, Julien and Jing. Thanks for your time. And before we conclude this section, just to remind everyone, we, HAF, is now recruiting projects. So if you have any projects that are in development, please submit the project to us. You can find our website with more information, and our website is industry.hkiff.org.hk. Okay, so thanks a lot.